They say money doesn't grow on trees, that you have to work hard, grind harder, and bleed just to have enough. That's what I believed, until the day everything I knew about money collapsed. I was 38, stuck in a tiny apartment with peeling paint and a leaky faucet that hissed like it was angry at me. I had 2 degrees, 3 freelance clients, and what felt like zero stability. On paper, I was doing okay, but emotionally, I was burnt toast. Crispy, bitter, done. That morning, the mail slipped through my door like it always did. Bills. More bills. A reminder from the credit card company that I was 2 weeks late. Again. I didn't open them right away. Instead, I stood in the kitchen, watching steam curl off a chipped mug of coffee, wondering, not for the first time, what it would feel like to finally exhale. Not the kind of exhale you fake in yoga class. I mean a real one. The kind where your body finally believes it's safe. And then it hit me, a quiet but undeniable realization. I wasn't tired from work. I was tired from chasing money, chasing approval, chasing the version of myself I thought I had to become to finally feel enough. I had been sprinting through life like it was a race to some golden finish line called security. But no matter how fast I ran, the finish line moved. It always moved. So I did something I'd never done before. I sat down on the floor, right there in the kitchen between the fridge and the recycling bin, and I said out loud, what if I stopped running? Not in defeat, not in despair, but in surrender. And that one question cracked open a door I didn't even know existed. Here's what I started to realize. Money isn't just currency. It's not paper. It's not numbers on a screen. It's energy. It moves. It pulses. It flows. Just like breath. Just like emotion. Just like intuition. And if everything in this universe responds to energy, then maybe money does too. Maybe I wasn't broke because I lacked effort. Maybe I was broke because my energy was wired for survival, not reception. I know, this might sound like spiritual fluff. Believe me, I used to roll my eyes at that stuff too. But here's the truth. I had tried everything else. Budgeting apps, hustle culture, sleepless nights filled with spreadsheets and self-blame. Nothing worked. So what did I have to lose? I began small. I didn't try to manifest a mansion or $1 million. I didn't tape affirmations to the mirror or pretend I was rich. I just started to pay attention to how I felt when I thought about money. And what I found was shame, fear, guilt, tightness in my chest, heat in my face, a little voice that whispered, "You're never going to figure this out." That voice was the static in my signal. That was the real block, not my circumstances, but my alignment. So I asked myself a new question. What if I treated money like a relationship instead of a chase? Because think about it. If money were a person, how would it feel about the way I'd been treating it? Ignored, resented, begged for, blamed. No wonder it didn't want to stay. So I changed the way I interacted with it. Instead of avoiding my bank account, I thanked it. Even when the balance was low, I said, "Thank you for showing me exactly where I'm at. Now let's grow together." Instead of freaking out over bills, I blessed them. This means I'm alive. I'm trusted. Someone gave me credit. That's a vote of confidence. Instead of praying in panic, I whispered in peace, "I'm ready to receive." I began to view every dollar not as survival, but as a vote of energy, a signal, a mirror. And that's when weird things started happening. Within days, I received a random PayPal deposit from a client who'd ghosted me 6 months earlier. No explanation, just a note. Sorry for the delay. A few days later, I got a refund from a utility company I didn't even remember overpaying. Then a new client reached out saying they'd been drawn to my vibe. It wasn't just luck. Something inside me had shifted, and the universe noticed. Now don't get me wrong. I didn't quit work or float around the apartment chanting mantras all day. I still worked, but it felt different. It felt lighter. Less like a struggle, more like an offering. Because here's what I learned. Money responds to clarity, to peace, to trust. When I chased it out of fear, it ran. When I relaxed into my worthiness, it returned. It was never about how hard I worked. It was always about how open I was. The truth is, I had been blocking money, not because I wasn't good enough, but because I didn't feel safe enough to receive it. My nervous system was calibrated for just enough, not overflow. My identity was built on proving, not allowing. So I rewrote the script. I let go of the idea that I had to suffer to succeed, that I had to earn love, or struggle to be spiritual, or sacrifice everything just to be respected. I chose something radical, to be calm, not complacent, not passive, just calm, like someone who already trusted life. And the more I trusted, the more life responded. Let's pause here. I want you to imagine something. Close your eyes if you can. Picture a version of yourself, maybe a year from now, maybe sooner. They're standing in a space that feels sacred, not flashy or grand, just right, aligned. The light hits their face gently. Their shoulders are loose. Their breath is deep. They're not rich because they hoarded money. They're rich because they finally felt free. That version of you? They're not in the distance. They're not on some mountaintop of hustle. They're right here, waiting to be chosen. That version of you, the one who feels safe, supported, and steady, isn't some fantasy future. It's a vibration, a frequency. And here's the truth no one taught us growing up. You don't wait to become that person. You align with them now, in this moment. But to do that, you have to become the signal. That's what I started calling it, the signal. Because every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every word you speak, it's all a broadcast, a message you're sending out into the field. And the field, it always replies. When I used to operate from stress, my signal said, I'm overwhelmed, I'm drowning, help me survive. And that's exactly what life sent back. More chaos, more delays, more reasons to panic. But when I began to shift, even slightly, into calm, into trust, into grounded intention, the signal changed, and everything changed with it. I realized something most people never do. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you broadcast. Want is just desire. But broadcast, that's energy. So I made a choice, a quiet, internal, defiant choice to become a match for abundance. Not by faking it, not by pretending to be someone I wasn't, but by stripping away all the noise that told me I wasn't ready or worthy or enough. Because here's the thing, abundance doesn't speak the language of panic. It speaks the language of presence. So I started practicing presence, like a daily ritual. Before checking my phone, I placed a hand over my heart and said, I trust life. Before opening my inbox, I breathed deeply and said, I am safe to receive. Before making any decision, big or small, I asked, does this move me closer to trust or further from it? And that's when the real transformation began. Not outside, but inside. My nervous system stopped flinching every time I thought about money. My jaw softened. My sleep deepened. My body stopped bracing for scarcity. Because here's what no budgeting course ever taught me. Your body is the vault, not the bank. Your body holds the permission. And when your body feels safe to receive, money has no choice but to respond. I began noticing beauty again, not just in art or sunsets, but in ordinary things. A well-poured coffee, a slow morning, a moment of laughter with no agenda. And the more beauty I noticed, the more abundance I experienced. Because abundance isn't just about finances, it's a state of being, a way of living in tune with the rhythm of enoughness. That rhythm was always there. I had just been too distracted, too tense, too future-focused to feel it. You want to know the most shocking part? The more I relaxed into abundance, the more money flowed in, and the less I cared about chasing it. It was like a paradox. The moment I stopped needing it so desperately, it came. Why? Because money, like any form of energy, moves toward openness. It flows where there is space. In desperation, that's contraction. That's static. Gratitude, on the other hand, that's expansion. That's the clearest signal of all. So I started blessing everything, even the so-called setbacks. If a bill showed up, I said, thank you for this reminder that I am trusted to manage energy. If a client ghosted me, I whispered, thank you for clearing space for something better. If I felt afraid, I didn't shame myself. I soothed myself. It's okay to feel this, but I don't live here anymore. Every time I chose that kind of inner language, it was like tuning a radio to a higher station. And the higher the station, the clearer the broadcast. I became magnetic, not by force, not by trying to impress the universe, but by being honest, grounded, and available. That's when I realized abundance isn't a reward, it's a reflection. It reflects who you're being when no one's watching. It mirrors what you believe you're safe to have. And if you're willing to shift that belief, not perfectly, not all at once, but gently, then your whole reality can begin to change. Quietly at first, then radically. I want you to pause right now, just for a moment, and ask yourself, what version of me have I been broadcasting to the world? Have you been saying, I'm ready for wealth with your words, but broadcasting, I'm terrified of having it with your energy? Have you been affirming abundance while living in fear of losing everything? It's okay. Truly, it is. We all start there. But this is your invitation to choose again, to become the signal, not of desperation, but of clarity, not of chaos, but of calm, not of scarcity, but of sufficiency. And when you do, life begins to listen. There's a moment that lives in my memory like a photograph. I was sitting on a park bench. Nothing special, just a quiet afternoon. Some filtered sunlight through tall trees, and a half-drunk matcha latte in my hand. My phone buzzed with a payment notification. A client I hadn't spoken to in months had just paid double my usual rate, without being asked. And for the first time in years, I didn't cry from relief. I smiled, softly, silently, because I wasn't surprised anymore. I had become the kind of person who expected good things, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. And that shift changed everything. You see, the moment you stop being shocked by abundance is the moment you start embodying it. And it's not just about getting lucky. It's about opening the vault, not out there in the world, but inside you. That's what no one teaches us. The real treasure is already within. Your nervous system, your beliefs, your energy field, they are the combination lock. And the moment you dial into the right code, the door opens, not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped holding it shut. So let me ask you something. What does your internal vault look like? Don't think, feel. Close your eyes and imagine walking through a grand corridor. Not cold, not intimidating, but sacred. The kind of place that feels like it was designed just for you. The air is soft, the light glows. At the end of the corridor is a door, thick, golden, humming with quiet power. You walk toward it, not with fear, but with a sense of remembering. Because this isn't a fantasy, this is a return. You place your hand on the vault, it recognizes you, and slowly the door swings open. Inside, stacks of currency, yes, but also light, clarity, confidence, peace, time, options, laughter, legacy. And as you step into that space, you realize this was never about money. This was about freedom, because money in its purest form is just a translator. It translates your choices into reality. It turns dreams into keys, and it flows, not to those who hustle the hardest, but to those who are clearest about what they're here to do. That's when I stopped asking, how do I make more? And started asking, how can I serve better from a place of overflow? And that's when everything began to multiply. I received invitations to collaborations I used to dream about. My rates went up, not because I demanded it, but because people felt the difference in my energy. I was no longer selling my time. I was offering transformation. And energy like that, people feel it. They want to be near it. They pay for it, gladly. So many of us think we need a business plan or a branding expert to become successful. But what we really need is coherence. When your mind, your heart, your breath, and your actions are aligned, you become irresistible to money, to opportunities, to life itself. You become the walking embodiment of enough. Here's a little practice I still do today, something that grounded me during the most uncertain times. Every morning before I reach for my phone, I ask one question. What would the abundant version of me do today? Not the frantic version, not the proving version, the abundant version. And then I listen, I follow. I let that energy guide my steps. Sometimes that means sending a bold proposal. Sometimes it means taking a nap. Sometimes it means investing in something that stretches me. Sometimes it means turning down an offer that doesn't feel aligned. But every time I follow that voice, that inner compass of worthiness, I am met with confirmation. The universe doesn't punish clarity, it rewards it. So if you're listening to this right now and you've been feeling stuck or scared or unsure, take a breath. Really do it now. In through your nose, out through your mouth, because this is your pause, your pattern interrupt, your reminder. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are not invisible, you are becoming. And becoming isn't about adding more layers. It's about removing what never belonged to you in the first place. The fear, the shame, the scarcity. You were never meant to be a beggar at the door of abundance. You are the door, and you get to decide when it opens. It's easy to feel abundant when life is going well, when the check's clear, when the inbox is full, when your confidence is high and the momentum is on your side. But the real test, the one that determines whether your abundance is surface level or soul deep, is what happens when things go quiet, when the client backs out, when the bill comes early, when the phone stays silent and your breath turns shallow. That's when most people shrink. That's when the old stories return. See? I knew it wouldn't last. Maybe I was just lucky. Who was I kidding? I know those stories well. I've lived them. But here's the shift that changed everything for me. Stability doesn't come from your income. It comes from your inner climate. And when your inner climate is regulated, when you can stay calm in the middle of a storm, you don't just survive, you magnetize. Because in the energy world, emotional neutrality is power. When you stop reacting to every bump, every dip, every delay, you stop broadcasting fear. And when you stop broadcasting fear, you stop attracting more things to be afraid of. That's why I started calling my emotional state my real savings account. Because no matter what was in the bank, my breath was mine. My presence was mine. My trust was mine. And when I learned to stay steady, not robotic, not numb, but steady, I became unshakable. I remember one month, not long after my financial turnaround had begun, I had a week where everything stalled. Projects delayed, payments paused. It was like someone hit a cosmic snooze button on my life. The old me would have spiraled, checked my balance every hour, refreshed my inbox, called friends for reassurance. But instead, I did something radical. I went for a walk. I let the sun touch my face. I bought myself a croissant and a coffee. Not because I could afford to, but because I was choosing trust over tension. And in that stillness, something whispered, "Nothing is wrong. You're just being recalibrated." Sure enough, within days the money showed up, from places I didn't expect, with ease I couldn't have planned. That's when I realized the universe doesn't need your stress. It needs your signal. And your signal becomes strongest when you refuse to collapse. Here's what I want you to remember when things feel tight. A delay is not a denial. A pause is not a punishment. A quiet period is often a sacred preparation, but only if you let it be. So the next time you feel the panic rising, pause. Place your hand over your chest. Breathe and say, "I remain in overflow." Not because your ego needs to hear it, but because your nervous system does. When you speak from overflow, even when the evidence isn't there yet, you create a new emotional reality, one where abundance is no longer something you chase, but something you return to. Another practice that changed me, energetic boundaries. Think about it. You wouldn't leave your front door wide open for just anyone to walk in, but we do that with energy all the time. We let every notification, every headline, every opinion affect our frequency, and then we wonder why we feel off. So I got intentional. I curated my inputs. I unfollowed accounts that fed fear. I stopped discussing lack with people addicted to struggle. I replaced financial gossip with financial gratitude. Because every conversation you engage in is a vote for the world you want to live in. I started speaking wealth, Not loudly, not arrogantly, but steadily. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, I'd say, it's not a priority for me right now. Instead of saying, money's tight, I'd say, I'm recalibrating my flow. Instead of joking, must be nice to be rich, I'd say, wealth is on its way to me. Words cast spells. Speak wisely and slowly, almost imperceptibly, I became someone different. Not because I changed who I was, but because I returned to who I'd always been underneath the fear. A receiver, a channel, a steward of energy. Money didn't complete me. It enhanced me. It gave me space to think deeper, to rest longer, to serve wider. It became an extension of my love, not the source of my worth. And maybe that's the most powerful shift of all. When you stop chasing money to prove something and start allowing it to support your truest self. When money is no longer your master or your enemy, but simply a mirror reflecting how fully you've come home to yourself. That kind of wealth? It's not just financial, it's vibrational. And once you taste it, you never go back. I want you to imagine something. Not as a wish, not as an escape, but as a remembering. Close your eyes or keep them soft and breathe into the space behind your ribs. Not just the physical chest, but the energetic heart, that glowing center within you where all knowing begins. Now picture yourself walking into a room, but this isn't any room. This is your home, not the one you rent, not the one you scroll past on Zillow, but the energetic home, the one that matches your highest frequency. It's spacious, airy, golden light dances across the floor. The air feels alive, charged, like it knows you, like it's been waiting for you. As you walk deeper in, you notice nothing is missing here. Not time, not love, not opportunity, and certainly not money. In the center of the room, there's a safe, a vault, smooth, warm to the touch. It hums when you approach. You place your hand on it, and it opens. Inside is everything you once thought was far away. The peace that money promised but never delivered. The ease you thought you had to earn. The joy that used to feel too expensive. It's all here, and it was never outside of you. You didn't chase this. You aligned with it. You didn't force this. You remembered it. You didn't earn this. You became this. This is what it means to master the energy of money, not by demanding, but by allowing, not by waiting, but by choosing, not by becoming someone else, but by returning to your original signal. So how do you live in this frequency? You anchor it every day, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's not. You treat your thoughts like a playlist. You don't let fear play on repeat. You speak like someone supported. You walk like someone free. You circulate money like water, grateful for every drop, knowing more is always flowing. You set standards for what you allow in your field, not out of superiority, but out of self-respect. And above all, you trust that you are not random. You are designed, calibrated, tuned, not for lack, but for overflow. I know some of you are listening and thinking, this sounds beautiful, but my reality is nowhere close to this. And I hear you. I really do. But that's the gift of this work. You don't wait for the reality to change to feel the frequency. You feel the frequency first, and then the reality must shift to match it. That's not magic. That's physics. It's the law of resonance, and it's always listening. So if you're still with me and you've come this far, I want to leave you with this. You are not here to chase. You are not here to suffer. You are here to remember that abundance isn't out there. It's in you. That money doesn't come because you beg. It comes because you believe. That wealth isn't the end goal. It's a reflection of how deeply you trust yourself and your path. So the next time you feel tempted to panic, to shrink, to go back to the old script, remember this. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So become peace, become clarity, become the version of you who money loves to be around, and it will never stop coming. Now breathe. Feel that? That's not just a nice idea. That's your new frequency. Carry it into your day, into your decisions, into your future. because the shift is real and you're already living it. If this story stirred something in you, if it felt like a remembering, share it. Drop a comment below. Tell me, have you ever stopped chasing and felt money return to you? I want to hear your story. And if this moved you, consider subscribing for more. Because this isn't just a video, it's a vibration, and it's only just beginning.